Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting tutorial. I'm Zili. At the end of this tutorial, you will learn to create a very simple bag shopping website using React.js, and we're going to be styling with CSS. So let me walk you through all we're going to be building in this tutorial. First off, we're going to start with this simple navigation bar. We have a very simple and unique navigation bar, and in the info section as well, we have the product display. One of the most popular products is right here. We have it here with the price and the button to buy now, and also we have the image of the product as well. The navigation bar and the info section have the same background color, right? So if you scroll down a bit, you're going to see why choose this brand. This is another section as well. It's showing that the brand offers the best quality, free shipping, and they have 100% return warranty. And then we have the bag collection as well. For the bag collection, this is a very simple collection section. It's the major display of all the products available on the website. Okay, so we have several products here displaying the bags that are available, and then we have the footer. This is a very simple and basic footer. When you hover on each of the social media icon on the footer, it's showing a different color, and if you hover on the links as well, it's showing a different color. So one thing about this website is you can view the product. So if I click on this product now, as you can see, you can view this product in a modal window. If you click on it, it's going to display in a modal window where the image of the product is there, the name of the product, the price, and a button to buy now. I'll have this close button as well to close this section if you're no longer viewing the product. Okay, let me click on this as well. As you can see, this is also showing in the modal window. If you click on this as well, you can see the product has been displayed. This is a very beautiful UI that you can make use of in your own personal project. So guys, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. So I'm going to be walking you through step by step on how to build every single one of this in this tutorial. So if you click on this, you see this is looking okay. If you click on this as well, this is what you get. This is very simple and basic as well. Okay, we have the carts page in our navigation bar. So this is the carts. If I click on this icon now, I'm going to see this carts page. Okay, right now it's showing our cart is still empty. For the carts page, we have the left and the right section. The left section is where we have the carts details, while the right is where we have the cart summary. So after adding items to the carts, you're going to see it in the carts page. So if I add this item to cart, add the second item to cart, add the third item to cart, it's showing right here. Okay, let me add another item to cart, showing that I've added 3 items to cart. Okay, can you see? All right, let me add this as well to the cart. It's showing that we have 4 items in the cart. So I added this item 3 times. One thing about this cart page is you can increase and decrease. Right now I have just decreased, and now I've increased the item in the cart. Okay, you can increase, you can decrease item, and it's going to be reflecting in the total. Okay, this is the actual price, this is the total price. So because we have 2 items in the cart, we're having $130 as the price, and the total price will give us $260. Right? If I increase it again by 1, total price is giving us $360. Right now it's showing that we have 5 items in our cart because this is 3 items, this is 2 items. So the total of the 5 items is showing you have $650 in the cart summary. Alright. So these are one of the things that you're going to learn as well as we move on in this tutorial. If I add this item to cart as well, it's showing right here that I've added this item to cart twice. Okay, I can reduce it and then I can increase it as well, and it's going to show that it has been added. Okay, and in the navigation bar as well, it's also reflecting that we have 6 items in the cart, 3 of this particular item, 2 of this item, and 1 of this item. Alright, and if you notice, the navigation bar and the footer are present in all of the pages. It's present in the home page and it's present in the carts page. So we're going to be learning how to build all of this using React.js as we move further in this tutorial. So guys, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Do not forget to give a comment on what you want me to put out there. Thank you so much. So we're going to be building all of this now using React.js. Let's get to it. So let's start by opening your VS Code. I've opened mine. Then you navigate to your terminal, click on New Terminal, and in your new terminal, change directory to your desktop. I have a folder for YouTube project, so I'm going to be creating this React app in the folder. So I'm going to change my directory to YouTube projects as well. So if you have a folder where you want to create the React app, just just change the directory to that folder. So you're going to run this command to create the React app, npm the name of the React app that we're creating is Bag Ecommerce Data. Okay, so make sure you're connected to the internet to run this command. Okay, so you're going to change directory to the name of what you just created now, Bag Ecommerce Data, and then you're going to run npm install. Make sure you're connected to the internet to run this as well. So it is installing. It's going to take some time to install. After successful installation, navigate back to your file, click on open folder, and then in the folder, open your desktop. In the desktop, you need to navigate to the folder where you created the project. I created mine in YouTube projects. Open YouTube projects and then look for the app. Select the folder and open it in VS Code. Okay, so I'm going to close this welcome. Then open your SRC folder. I'm not going to use app.css, so I'm just going to delete this. Delete. And then you start with clean up. App.gsx, clean it up, Ctrl, then backspace. I'm going to be using a shortcut to create a functional reactor. The shortcut is refcu. It's a very simple shortcut that you can use when you have a certain extension. I'm going to show you the extension. So to use refc and other shortcuts, you need to have this extension. Let me show you my installed extension. You need to have ES7 React Redux React Native extension. Okay, so do well to install that. I'm going to close this, back to my Explorer. Then my index.css as well, Ctrl A, backspace. For the entire document, I'm going to set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0 as well. Okay, and my index.css as well. I'm going to change the name of the project to Bag Ecommerce. Then I'll close it. Okay, so on this website that we're trying to view, we have an icon here, right? We have icons here as well. That means we need to install React icon. We have the home page. This is our home page where we have the hero section. We have this features section. We have the product list and all of that. And we have the cards page as well, which is a very separate page. That means we are using routing system. If you're used to building projects in React, you would understand that we need to install React Router DOM. We need to install React icon as well. So we're going to search for React Router DOM and React icon right now. So here, React icon, and then React Router DOM. So back to React icon. Once you're on this link, just come here and copy the installation code. Open your terminal and your code, and then in your terminal, paste the code you just installed and press enter. Make sure you're connected to the internet as well. Back to our browser, React Router DOM, copy the installation code as well. React icon is already installing, so create another terminal, and in the terminal, paste the installation code for React Router DOM and press enter. Make sure you're connected to the internet as well. And also, we need the image that will be displayed, the product images, right? This are the products that will display on the screen. Okay, so these are all of the products that we want to display. So I'm just going to copy, open my SRC folder. I'm copying into the asset folder. So I'm going to copy all of these images into my asset folder. If you check this asset folder now, every single one of the images already installed. I don't need React SVG, so I'm just going to delete that as well. So React Router DOM has been successfully installed. React icon has also been installed. Now we need to check if our app is working. So to check if our app is working, you're going to run this command so that we can view our app in our local browser, npm run dev. So this is going to give you a link to your local host. It says that port 5173 is currently in use. That is what we're using to view the one that is already built. Okay, so we're going to use another port. Click on follow link, and as you can see, our app is working. Okay, so we've installed React icon, we've installed React router down. So this is what we want to build, but this is what we have now. So let's learn to build bag e-commerce website. First off, I need to minimize this, and then in my SRC folder, I'm going to create folder for components. In the SRC as well, I'm going to create folder for pages. In my component folder, I'm going to create several folders, like the navbar folder. I'm going to create the hero folder. I'm going to create the footer component. I'm going to create the product lists components. I'm going to create the shop context component. And then I'm going to create the features components. And lastly, the carts component. And then in my pages folder, I'm going to create my own page. Okay. So for each of the folders that I just created, we're going to be creating the GSX and the CSS file for each of them. So this is going to have carts.gsx and carts.css. Okay. The features as well. This is going to have features.gsx and then features.css. So I'm going to pause this video now to create the GSX and CSS file for each of the folders I created. So I've installed I created file for each of them, GSX and CSS files. So I'm just closing the files right now. Okay. So we'll start RFC for our own page as well. I think I forgot to do that. Okay, now let's start with our code. First off, we need to start with our own page. Our own page is where we're going to have every other components, like the hero components, the and every other components. Okay, so but let's begin with our navigation bar. Okay, so in our nav bar, I've done the shortcut. So I'm going to clear this up. Let's start the work. I'm going to create a div tag with the class name of navbar. With the navbar, we have logo. I'm creating a div tag for that. For logo, we have links. I'll create div tag for that. And then we have our icon. Okay, so in the logo, we need to use a heading tag. The name of the company is YBL Bikes. That is what will serve as the logo. And then in our links, we're going to have another other lists. We have 3 list items. First one, okay, 3 list items. The first one is going to take home. The second will take products, and the last will take contacts, right? And then for our icon, we're going to have, it's a cat icon. So we're going to have the icon itself. So I'm just going to go back outline. Remember that we've installed React icon. So React is going to give me a list of icons that align with back outline. So this is the icon that we're paying for, and the class name is nav icon. Okay, and then we'll have a p tag for the quantity of items that we have in the cart. So this is going to take quantity carts. Okay, let me just say item nav carts quantity, right? I'm going to set this to 0, but we're going to come back to it when we work on the functionality that will undo our item quantity in the carts. Okay, so this is our navigation bar right here. I'll come to app.gsx and I'm going to mount it in app.gsx. So here, nav bar. Okay, so in our browser, this is what we have. We need to style this now, so it's going to look exactly like this. Alright, so we're going to open our number.css, but before that, we need to import our GSX file into our CSS file. We need to import our CSS file into our GSX file. So here I'm going to have import./navbar.css. So I'm going to start with the navbar itself, come to our CSS, paste it, padding will be set to 30 pixels, padding inline will be set to 80 pixels, display will be flex, justify content space between, and then the background color will take this color code. And then we have for the links. So I'm going to copy this back to our CSS. For navbar, for the links and other list, display will be flex, and then gap will be 20 pixels. So we need to style for each of the list items. For links on other lists, the list items, list style will be none, and then the font size will be 18 pixels. Font weight will be 600, and I want all of the text as uppercase. So now for our nav icon wrapper. So for our nav icon wrapper, copy it, paste it in our CSS. Position will be relative. Display will be flex, and then cursor pointer. Now for the nav icon itself, the icon itself, the font size will be set to 34 pixels, or common font size will be set to 34 pixels, and then margin left will be set to 35 pixels. So for the quantity, the background color will be red, and then position will be absolute because we want it on top of the other one. So the right will be minus 8 pixels, and the font size will take 12 pixels. Height will be 20 pixels, and the width will be the same thing, 20 pixels. The text color will be white, and then the border radius will be 50% because we want it as a circle. Display will be flex, and then justify content, we want it in the center, align items center. Alright, so this is what we have now. Let's see, it's the same thing as this. Alright, so let's start with, since we're done with the navigation bar, we can now move on to our own page. So in the home page, we're starting with our hero section. Alright, so I'll close navbar.css and navbar.gsx so that we can continue. This is our own page, but we cannot render home page just like that. We need to route it. Okay, so in our app.gsx, we are going to import routes and routes from React router DOM. Okay, so after our navigation bar, we're going to have routes, and in the routes, we need each of our routes, and the path here is going to point to /, which is representing our own page, and here we're going to render the home page itself and close this. So this is our home page right now. But before any other thing, we need to wrap our entire app with browser router. So I'm going to come here, cut this, Ctrl X, browser router, and then I'm going to close this and paste what I just cut earlier. We also need to import browser router. Import browser router from React router DOM. Alright, so now we have our own page, right? Okay, so we can now start with the content of the home page. We're starting with the hero section. The hero will be in the home page. So in our hero section, I'm just going to delete this. Create a div tag with a class name of hero, and in the hero, we're going to have hero content, In the hero content, we have two sides for the left and the right side. Hero left, hero right. At the left section, we have an heading tag for, and it's taking this YBL leather quality bag, and we have a paragraph tag with a class name of text, and it is going to display this text. Let me close this Explorer page so that we can. This is what is going to display. Okay, I'll create another paragraph tag with a class name of price to display the price. So the price will be dollars, and the price is $75.99. I almost said cover because I'm a Nigerian. And this, we need a call to action button, and it's going to display buy now. So that is for the left section. Now to the right section, we're going to have an image. That's what we want to display, right? Now we need to get the image from our asset folder. This is the image that we're going to use. The first image is what we're using. So back to our hero section, we're going to import the image. I'm giving it a name inside this component. I'm giving it hero image. That is the name inside the component, not the name of the image itself. From asset folder, and the name of the image is bag1.png. Right. So close the asset folder. So in the SRC here, we're going to replace it with the curly braces and then pass the name of the image that we give it in this component, in the hero component. So this is what we have in our hero section. Alright, so in the home page, I said earlier that the hero section is going to be in the home page. I'm going to mount the hero components in the home page. So here we're going to have hero. Okay, if we view it in our browser, this is what we should have with the image. This image is so clear. Alright, we need to style it so it's going to look exactly like what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so I'll open my CSS file for my hero section, but before that I need to import my CSS file into my GSX file. Let's start styling hero, paste it in hero.css dot hero. The height will be 90 VH. I'm setting the height to 90 VH. And the background will have the same background color with our navigation bar, AFE1EF. That should be the background color. Now that we're done with that, we need to style our hero content as well. For the content, display will be flex, justify content, space between, and then padding inline will be set to 100 pixels, depth of 20 pixels. That should do it. And now we're going to start with the left section of the hero. So for hero left, max width will be 50%, and then margin top 100 pixels. Display will be flex direction in a column, and gap between each of the items will be 10. Now we have an H1 tag in our hero, in the left section of the hero, right? So I'm setting the font size to 5.5 rem. Margin top will be 10 pixels. We have the text as well. Repeater with a class name of text, if you remember. Margin top will be 15 pixels for this, and then the font size will be 18 pixels with color of this color code. Now for the price, hero left for price, the color will be black, the font size will be 32 pixels, and then the font weight will be bold. We have a button as well in the left section of the hero. So the width will be 40%. Padding will be 1 rem for the height and 4 rem for the width. And then background color will be Sacramento green 04397. That's the color code. And then the text color will be white. border will be none. Now, what else do we have? Alright, so for the right section, we need to set the max width as well. So the maximum width for the right section will also be 50%. Now for the image, the only thing we have in the right section is the image. So for the image, the width will be 640 pixels and then the height will be 550 pixels. Object width will be contained. So let's see. This is what we have, looking all good and clean, and it's exactly like this. Can you see? We cannot spot a difference. Okay. One next, what else do we have in our navigation? In our home page. Okay, we have this white user brand. So let's leave that out. Alright, I'm going to close the CSS file for Hero and the JSX file for Hero. Now to the features section. So for features, I'm going to create a div tag with, I'm going to create a div tag with a class name of features. And then I'm going to have an H2 tag that will say why choose our brand. After that, we're going to have a little description, a paragraph tag with a class name of description, and it is going to take this. Okay. Then we're going to create the cards container. We have 3 cards, right? So a div tag with a class name of container, cards container. So we're going to have 3 different cards. So for the first card, we're having this star icon. So let me open it. So I'm just going to type in star. And that is going to give me a list of icons that are relating to star. So I'm going to be using this. Let me see. Can I get it on time? It's a red. Let me have red star. Okay. And so this is the icon. And it's going to have a class name of icon. Close the icon. Next, we're going to have an heading tag, H3 tag. It's going to take best quality. And then we're going to have a paragraph tag as well. And it's going to say 100% genuine products. Okay, so that is for the first card. The second card is going to have an icon as well. For shipping, we want to show a shipping, so this is what I'm using. Class name of icon as well. And then we have another heading tag as well for free shipping. Then we have a paragraph tag for 100% free shipping products. Now for the last card, which is the third card, we're going to have this icon, red check circle. Alright. Class name is icon. Okay, closer. Then the heading for this one is going to be warranty. And the paragraph tag for this one will be 100% return guarantee. So this is the features section, and then in the home page we're going to mount the features. So to our browser, let us see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. We need to style it so that it's going to look exactly like this. Okay, now features the CSS. Before styling, we need to import our CSS style into our CSS file, features.css. So we're starting with the features container itself. Copy it, paste it in our features.css. We want the text to be in the center, Padding will take 30 pixels, 20 pixels, and then we have an H2 tag. The font size will take 3 rem. Margin bottom will take 20 pixels. Now we have the description. Okay, so the font size of this will take 1.1 rem, and then the color will be this color code with a margin bottom of 40 pixels. That should do it. Okay, now to the card container, come back here, copy the class name, paste it in the CSS file. So for card container, display will be flex, justify content, center, and then the gap between each of the cards will be 30 pixels. Now for the cards, the background color is going to be white, and then padding will take 20 pixels. Border radius will be 10 pixels. We want all the text in the center, and the width of each card will be 300 pixels. Now for box shadow, we're going to have 0 pixels, 4 pixels, 10 pixels with this color code 0, 0, 0, 0.1. Okay. Alright, so this is what we have. Now let's see. What do we have next? We have the icon. Okay, so for the icon in our card, the font size is going to be 2.5 rem. Color will be this color code, and then margin bottom is going to take 15 pixels. We have an H3 tag and a P tag as well for the card. So for H3 tag, for the heading, the font size will be 1.5 rem, and margin bottom will take 10 pixels. Now for the P tag, for card P tag, we're just going to change the color to this color code. Alright, so this is what we have here now. Okay, so this is what we have now. If we compare it to this, okay, the card container for what we just did is so close to our description. So on the description, okay, this is supposed to be margin bottom, 40 pixels. Now let us see. Alright, so this is what we have. Next thing we have is in our home page is the product list display. We need to display our products. So I'm going to close our features, and then we'll start with our product lists. Okay, so before that, we need to create our data file, data.gsx. So I've created the array of objects for the data that we're going to be using. So this is it. I've imported all of the necessary images from our asset folder, and this is the product data. These are array of objects for our product data. So this is the detail of all of the products. So we have the ID, we have the image, we have the title, and we have the price. Okay, so this is everything that we're going to be using in the product list. But before we start with our product lists, we need to work on our shop context. The shop context is basically a context provider that owns and shares data related, like products, cart items, etc., across different components in our application. So if we have the state, if we manage our products data in our shop context, other components will be able to have access to it. So that is why we want to work on our shop context first before we display the products. So also the shop context acts as a central place to manage and store state, as I said earlier. Any other component wrapped around the shop context can access and modify the data without having to pass it down as props. Okay, so that is why we're working on shop context. So I'm going to start by importing create context hook and use context hook with use effects for side effects. So here, let's begin work. Import React. Okay, here we're importing create context, use states, and then use effects from React. Okay, and then next thing we're going to do is to create our shop context. So here we're creating a comments, create shop context. So export so that we can use it in other components. That's why I'm using export const shop context. We're creating context here. Now I'm going to import the product data from data.jsx that we want other. So this is data.jsx. This is product data right here. I'm going to import it into our shop context. So I'm importing import product data from our asset folder, no, from our data. All right. The next step now is to define a context provider, and I'm going to name the context provider shop context provider, and this will wrap around the application that needs to access our shop states. I'm also going to export that context provider. Okay, so now Ctrl Z. Here we want to create context provider, and I'm giving it a name shop context provider. Okay, we're going to export the context provider. I said it earlier. So here we're going to have export default shop context provider. All right. Now within this context provider that we've created, we return shop context those provider that will wrap around the children components. Okay. Now here we're going to return shop context that's provider. Okay, and it's going to wrap around children components. And then here we're going to pass value here. Okay, and also in our where we created our shop context provider, we're also going to pass children as well. DREN. We're going to pass children as well. So we can now start by managing our product state. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is to create a state variable that will manage our products and also update our product. So I'm going to create a state variable and I'm going to give it the product, and I'll create a setter function to manage the product. I'm going to name it set products, and we're going to initialize the states with our product data. Okay, so the states will be set as product data. So by default, the product that I'm creating is going to store product data. Okay, so right here, I'm creating product states. State variable const products, setter function sets products, use states. We're going to set our use states to products data. Okay, so by default, our state variable product is storing product data. Okay, so if you over on it, you can see we have the ID, image, title, and then the price. And here we have an empty dependency array. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we can now pass the value in the shop context provider that we returned earlier. So here we're going to have product. So that now that I've passed the value, other components can have access to the product data. Okay, so that this is going to be efficient, we need to wrap our entire application. We need to wrap shop context around our entire application. Okay, and our application is in our main.gsx. So I'm going to wrap the entire application. So I'm going to cut this browser alter, Ctrl X, and then I'm going to mount shop context provider, and then wrap it around the entire components. the entire application. Okay. Now every other component or pages can now have access to the shop context. So whatever the shop context is managing, be it the carts functionality, be it the products, every other component will be able to have access to it because we wrapped the shop context provider around the entire application. So I'm just going to close this and head over to our product list, which is what we want to work on. Okay, so now on the product list, I'm going to delete this. Then I'm going to create a div tag for with the class name of product lists. All right. Before starting anything, we need to extract our products from shop context. Okay, we need to be able to access the product from shop context. So I'm going to import shop context. Import shop context. Right. So after the importing, we're now going to extract products from shop context. Const products, and then the context we're using is context shop context. So this has already been there. So once you have use context, you're just going to see the import header up there. All right, so we've imported shop context. Now we can now continue with what we want to render to our screen. So we need an header first for our bag collection. After that, we need to display the context. So products grid is what I'm going to give it. Now we need to map over the products that we extracted from the shop context. So products, we're using the map method dot map, and we're passing products. Okay. Okay, we need to destructure our product as well. Okay, so this we're mapping over this product here, that is storing product data. So to be able to access each of the products, like each of the product items, this product data is an array of objects. To be able to access each of the objects, we need to destructure it. So here, destructure products. So I'm going to have const with the structure ID, the image, the title, and the price as well. And let this be equal to products. Okay, so now we can now start. Now what we want to return is a div tag, a div container. Let me close this. Alright, so within this div tag, we're going to have our image. I'm going to give this div tag a class name as well. Class name, product cards. So here, let me explain. We're mapping over our products that we extracted from shop context, and here we're structuring the product so we can have access to each of the key value pairs that we have in the objects. The products data is an array of objects, so it has ID, image, title, and price. And then we want to return, return RM. We want to return product card. Okay, and to return the product card, we need to pass a key which will serve as a unique identifier. So each of the product card will be displayed by their identifier, which is the ID. So we're going to start by displaying the image. But remember that we've destructured the image, and then we're now going to need the product info. So I'm creating a div tag with a class name of product info. The product info will have an h4 tag for title, and then we'll have for price. The price will be in dollars. So this is going to take price. Alright, so after our product info, we're going to have a button tag with a class name of add to cart. This is our call to action button. It's just going to have add to cart. Okay, we're going to work on the cart functionality later, but this is what it's going to look like for add to cart. Now this is what we have in our product list. So in the home page, I'm going to mount the product list components. PROD UCT list. the components in the home page. Okay. Alright, so if we go down a little bit, we're going to see each of the products from the image to the title to the button and to the price. So let's style it so that we will not be having this enlarged. So to style, I'm going to open our product list.css. Let me close the. So remember that before we can start, we need to import our CSS file into our GSX file, right? So we're starting with product list, paste it here. So for product list, the map width will be set to 1200 pixels and the margin will be 0 also, so it will be at the center. Padding will be 20 pixels and then we want all the text at the center. Margin top will take 50 pixels. We have an H2 tag. So for the H2 tag, the margin bottom will take 20 pixels and the font size will be 3 rem, while the color will take this color codes. Now we have the grid layout for the product display. Copy it, paste it here. For the grid layout, display will be grid, and then grid template column, repeat, autofill, minimum and maximum should be 250 pixels per fraction, and then we're going to give it a gap of 20 pixels. Now for the product card, which is here, copy it, come right here, paste it to the CSS. The background color will be white, definitely, and the border will take 1 pixel solid with this color code. Border radius on all sides will take 8 pixels, and the padding will be 15 pixels. Then we're going to have transition. So transform 0.2 seconds is. Alright, so for the, what else do we have? Okay, for this product image, I'm going to give you the class name of product image. So we're going to copy this as well. Now for product image, the max width will be 100%, and then border radius will be 8 pixels as well. Margin bottom is going to be 10 pixels, and the height of the image will be 250 pixels. Transform scale of 0.9. We want it to be a little bit smaller, so we'll work on the hover effect so that when the user hover on it, so our transition is going to take this same value. Now for the over effect I just talked about now, Ctrl Z, sorry, this is a mistake. Okay, so for product image, over, transform scale of 1. Now we have product info. Next thing is product info. I will have H4 tag and the P tag. So for product info H4, the font size will take 1.2 rem. Margin will be 10 pixels, 0 and 5 pixels, and the color will be this color code. Now for the P tag, the font size will be 1 rem, and the color will be this color code. Okay, what do we have next? We have our button, our add to cart button. So for the button, display will be block, and then the width will be 100%. You should take 100% of the product card. Padding will take 10 pixels. Background will be white, and then the text color will be black. So the border will take 1 pixel solid with this color code. Border radius will take 5 pixels. Cursor will be pointer, and then the font size For the text will be 1 rem. Margin top will take 10 pixels, and then transition. So we want our transition to be on the background color, and it should be 0.3 seconds. Ease in out. Now we're going to work on the over effect for our add to cart button. So on the background color is going to take this color code, and the text color will be white. So let's view our browser, and this is what we have. It's exactly as this. Okay, it's the same thing as this. So it's looking good, it's looking okay. If you hover on it, this is what you will get, right? So let us see what's next. So the next thing here is to be able to view the product detail after we've displayed our product. So if you click on this, you're going to get this product display on your screen as a modal window. All right, so let us work on that as well. Okay, so now back to our product lists. The first thing we need to do is to create the code that will manage the state of the modal window that we want to display. So I'm going to create a state variable, give it a name modal, and a setter function sets modal, and set the state to false, meaning that the modal will be closed by default. Okay, so right here, I'll create a state variable, modal, a setter function sets modal, and then the use state will be set to false, meaning that the window will be closed by default. But I'm going to create another state that will hold the product detail of the item that we want to display within the modal. Okay, so I'm going to create a state variable, give it a name selected product, and a setter function set selected product, and I'm going to initialize the state as null, meaning no product is selected by default. Okay, so right here I'm going to create selected product, a setter function set selected product, and the state I'm going to set it to null. So this means that no product is selected by default. The very next thing I'm going to do is to create a function that will undo opening and closing the modal content. So this is what I mean. If you click on this, you're going to see this content, right? So I'm going to create the function that will undo opening and closing the modal content. So the name of the function is going to be toggle modal. Oh, sorry, toggle. Okay. And we'll pass product as parameter. Product equals null as parameter to ensure that when the modal is closed, no product remains selected. So here, product will be equals to null. This is going to be the parameter. And then I'm going to open the function. So within the function, we will toggle the modal state using set modal into brackets, not modal. So this is what we're going to do. Set modal into not modal using this not operation here. So I'm using not modal because by default the modal is closed. I set the modal to false here. I set the state here to false. So if you toggle the modal, that means that you want to open the modal, right? For the state variable that I created here, the modal is closed. So toggling the modal using not modal is saying that the modal should be open. Okay, so that is what this function is going to do. So if you toggle the modal will open. If you toggle it again, it's going to close. Also, within the same function, we need to update the selected product state within the provided product arguments. What I mean is, remember that by default, product is set to none. So if the user toggles the modal, the product that will be updated, like we need to update the selected product that will be displayed when the user toggles. Like we want to show that particular product of the modal, like the content of that modal, the product, when the user toggles the modal. So we're going to set selected product to, we're going to set it with product. Okay, so this is to ensure that when the user clicks well, like when the user toggles the modal, they are going to see the content of that modal. So outside our product list container, which is right here, we're going to write the code for the modal window to be displayed, like to display the product detail when the modal and the selected products are considered. So first, we're going to create a condition that if both modal is true, that means the modal is open and the selected product contains the valid product, then this is what we want to display. So let's start with condition rendering. So for if modal and selected product, if modal is true and selected product is valid, like there's a valid product, we want to render the product modal. So this is the content that will be displayed. So I'm going to create another div tag for product modal content. So in the product modal content, we're going to have the close button to close the modal. So I want the close icon. I'm going to use this one. Okay. And I'm going to give it a class name of modal close. And then we need to have another div tag for the modal content itself, which we're starting with our image. So I'm going to be replacing this curly braces. We're using our selected product dot image. So we want to display the image of the selected product in the modal. So after the image, we're going to have a heading tag with a class name of modal title. And in modal title, we're using the selected product dot title. So that is the title of the selected product. Now for price, another heading tag with a class name of modal price. And that is going to take the selected product dot price. And then we're going to use the button, and the call to action is buy now. So that's going to be the class name, and it's going to say buy now. Okay, so now if we check the sample that we're trying to build, you can only see the content, the modal window, when you click on the image. So if I click on the image, I'm going to see the content. So that means that in our products list itself, we're going to have we're going to use an on-click function, and then we're going to call the toggle modal function. Okay, so here we're going to have toggle modal, and then we're going to pass product as the argument. Okay, so for the close icon as well, we're going to use an on-click function. Since by default the modal is set to be closed, here if you now toggle it, since the modal is open, at this point for this particular code, if the modal is open and the product is selected, the selected product is valid, that means that we want to display this, right? So since it is this icon is for close, we're going to pass toggle modal here. So now we need to style this now. Okay, so we're going to start by styling the product modal. Paste it in your product list.css since it's in our product list. The position here will be set to fixed. Inset will be set to 0. And the background color will be set to this color code. The Z index will be set to 100 to 1000. Display will be grid. We want all the items in the center, so place items in the center with a padding of 15 pixels. Now for the product modal contents, the background color is going to be set to white, Max width will be set to 550 pixels, and the width will be 100%. Padding will be 32 pixels, and then the border radius will be 30 pixels. Position will be relative. Now we have the modal content. So for modal content, display will be flex direction, colon, with a gap of 15 pixels. Okay, we skipped the modal close. So for modal close, position will be absolute, position absolute, top will be minus 3.5%, and the right will be the same thing, minus 8.5%, with a font size of 50 pixels, and the filter would be invert, and it will be set to 0.8. Now for the image, I'll give you the class name of modal image. For modal image, the width will be 100%, and the height will be 350 pixels. Object fits will be contained. Now for the modal title, the font size will be 30 pixels. And then for modal price, the font size will be 28 pixels. Now for the button, padding will be 0.9 rem for the height and 6 rem for the width. The border radius will be 30 pixels. Border will be set to none. The text color will be white, and the font weight will be 600 with a background of Sacramento green. Alright, so if we check our browser now, this is what we should see when you click on. So let me just cancel this. If you click on this, this is what you're going to get. Alright, we still need a little touch up. Alright, so if we go through our code, this is supposed to be border radius, not break after. Border radius, it's a typo error, and this further code is not correct. Alright, so let us see. And now this is what we have. If you click on this cancel button, this is what you get. If you click on this, this is what it's going to look like. Then you can close it, open it, then you can close. The price is supposed to be in dollars, so let me add it. So product list.css for the selected, for the price, we're going to have a dollar sign. If we come back here, it's going to reflect right here. So let me go to this other one, and then it's the same thing. All right, so the next thing we need to work on now is adding item to our cart and creating a cart page. So we're going to create the entire cart functionality in our shop context so that every other component and pages can make use of the functionality. As I said earlier, the shop context acts as a central place to manage and store state. So any other component wrapped around the shop context can access and modify the data without having to pass it down. So I'm going to close product list and then the home page as well. So I'll open shop context and we can now start work. So I'm going to open my shop context now so that we can start working on our add to cart. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'll start by creating a state variable to manage the cart. I'll create a state variable and I'm going to name it cart and a second function which I'm going to name set cart, and I'm going to initialize the cart state as an empty string. So let's do that. Here we're going to have cart state. I'm going to create a state variable, name it cart, second function set cart, and I'm going to initialize it with an empty array. Okay. Also, I'm going to create another state variable that will manage the quantity of item in our cart. So the quantity of item is the amount of item that will be in the cart. So I'll create a variable. I'll name it item amount and a setter function set item amount, and I'm going to initialize that with 0. So here for the quantity, I'm going to name this item amount, setter function set item amount, and I'll initialize this with 0. Also, I'm going to create another state variable for the total price. This total price is going to track the total price of the item in our cart. So after we have added several items to cart, the state variable that I'm going to create is what will be in charge of tracking the total price of the item. So here, I'm creating a state variable. I'll give it the class a name of total and a setter function of set total. And this here, use it. I'm going to initialize this with 0. So we can now start with the functionality of our cart. First off, we're going to start with adding to cart. We need to create a function that is going to undo adding an item to cart. So what I'm going to do now, let me write a comment here. Function to add to cart. So I'm going to start by creating, I will name the function add to cart, and it's going to take two parameters, product and ID, because we're adding each product based on their ID. Okay, so let me use here, we're going to have add to cart, that is the name of the function, and it's going to take two parameters, product, ID. So in our function, we're going to create a new object, and I'm going to name it new item. In the new object, we'll use the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the product object, meaning that we'll copy all the key value pairs that we have in our product. Then I'm going to add a new property called amount and give it an initial value of 1. Let me show you what I mean. So right here, I'm creating a new object. Okay. So I'll use the spread operator, products, and I'll initialize our amount by 1. So as I explained earlier, what I basically did was that in our add to cart function, I created a new object and I named it new item. And this new object, I used the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the product object, meaning that we're copying all the key value pairs of our product. Then I added a new property called amount and I gave it an initial value of 1. So the next thing I'm going to do is to check if an item already exists in the cart based on the unique ID. So I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to name it cart item, which is going to store the logic we're about to write. So I'm going to name the variable cart item. So here, what this variable is going to store is this. We will use the find method to look through every item in the cart and look for the one where the ID matches. If we find a match, then we're going to return that item. So basically, if we find any product in the cart that matches with the product that we want to add to the cart item, the cart item will store that item. That means that if we have an existing product in our cart and we want to add another product which is the same thing as the ID of that product that exists in our cart, the cart item is going to store the item. Okay, so here we're using the find method. What I want to do is look through every item that we can have in the cart, and we're going to return item, the existing item in our ID that matches the new item that we're about to add. Okay, and now another thing we need to do is that we need to write a code that will do two things for us. First, to check if the item is already in the cart, and also to increase the quantity of that item in the cart. Okay, and secondly, so the first thing the code that we're about to write now is going to do is that it's going to check if the item already exists in the cart, it should increase the quantity of that item. And the second thing that this code that we're also about to write is going to do is that if the item is not in the cart, it's going to add new item to the cart. So after this one here that is checking if the item is in the cart, we're going to write the logic down. So here I'm using an if statement to check if cart item, that means if any item is in the cart, I'm going to create new carts. I'm going to explain this very soon. New carts, and then I'm going to use spread operator to create a shallow copy of our cart item, and I'm going to map over all the items in the carts. Then we're going to use an if statement as well to check if the item that is in the cart based on the ID matches with the new item that we want to add to the cart. And then if it does, we're going to return a shallow copy of the item, the amount of the item, and we're going to get the amount of the item by the cart item, which is what we added in the cart, plus 1. That means we are increasing the quantity by 1 if the item already exists in the cart. If the new item, which is this side, if the new item based on ID is present in our cart item, okay, if the new item that we're about to add is already inside our cart item, then we're going to create a shallow copy of the item, and also we're going to return the amount, which is the cart item dot amount plus 1. We're increasing the amount, the quantity by 1. Amount here is basically for quantity. So, and then we're going to have an else statement. So if otherwise, it should return the item. Okay. And then we're going to set our cart to the new cart. The set cart is the setter function, right? So we're setting this cart here to the new cart that we just got down. Okay. So for the logic behind this is also going to have an otherwise statement. So we're going to use an else statement as well. So basically what I highlighted here, let me just re-explain it. The code is doing two things for us. The first thing it's going to check is that if the item already exists in our cart, we're going to increase the quantity of that item. And secondly, if it is not in the cart, we're going to add a new item to our cart. So now I'm going to have an else statement, else, set cart to shallow copy of the cart and new item. Okay, so this is the logic to add to carts. So we're done with adding items to carts. What this else statement is doing is that if the item is not in the cart, if it does not already exist in the cart, we'll simply add new item to the cart by creating a new array, and we're going to include the existing cart item plus the new one. Okay, this is for the existing cart item and this is the new one. We're using the setter function to update our cart if the item does not already exist in our cart. Okay, so the next logic we're going to work on now is getting our total price. Okay, we need to create a functionality that is going to get the total price of all the items in our shopping cart and also automatically recalculate the total price whenever the cart changes. So here we're going to use a use effect hook to calculate the total price and recalculate whenever an item is added, removed, or its quantity is increased or decreased. So we're using the use effect hook. So this is function to get the total price. Alright, so we're using use effects. Okay. Control Z, okay. We're going to have this. Okay, so that is that. Now I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to name it total. And the variable is going to hold cart.reduce. We're using the reduce method because we're going to use it to go through each item in the cart and we're going to accumulate the total price. And this method is going to take two arguments, accumulator and current item. Let me write out the code so that you're going to see it. I'm creating a variable total. Okay, we're going to use the reduce method so that we can go through each of the item in the cart. This is going to take accumulator and also is going to take current item. Okay, so it's taking two arguments, accumulator and current item. But I'm going to create another variable that will store the conversion of the current item price to a floating point number. I'm doing this because prices are sometimes stored as string. So we need to convert it to floating point number. So I'm going to create a variable that is going to hold that logic as well. So I'm going to name it price as number, because what we want to do is convert it to number, to convert our price to number, just in case if it is not stored as a number. So this is going to have current, oh, not caps lock, current item dot price. That's what we're converting to the floating point number. And now the next thing we need to check is for validity. We need to check if the price is valid. So I'm going to use an if statement to check if the price is not a number. Then we're going to return the accumulator. And if it is a number, we'll multiply the price by the quantity, which is the amount that I said earlier, which is the amount of the item. And then we're going to add it to the running total, which is the accumulator. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm using an if statement to check if the price is not a number, is man. That's what you're going to use. So we're going to have price as a number. That is what we want to check. If it is not a number, we want to return accumulator. Okay. But if it is a number, we're going to return the running total, which is the accumulator, plus price as number multiplied by the current item dot amount. And here we're going to set the quantity, which is the amount, to 0. Okay. And then we're going to update our total by using the set total. So here we're going to have set total. And then here we're going to pass cat as a dependency array. So for every time our cat changes, the use effect is going to run again. That means the total price will automatically recalculate for every time the cat changes. We're going to keep running a new total price if an item is added, if an item is removed, if an item is increased, if an item is decreased. Okay. And now the next thing we need to work on is to create a function that will calculate the total number of items that we have in our cart. What we've done so far is that we've created a function that is going to undo adding items to cart. We've created another function that will undo getting total price. The next thing we need to do is to create a function that would calculate the total number of items in our cart, and that is going to be our quantity. So I'm going to use the use effect hook to execute the function. So this function will run every time the cart changes. That means we're going to pass the cart as well as the dependency array. So let's get to it. So let me write a comment here. So this function is to calculate the quantity of item in our cart. Okay, so I'm using use effects hook. Use effects. First, we need to use the if statement to check if there is any item at all in our cart. So in the if block, we're going to create a state variable for amount, and that is going to store the logic we're about to write. So let me use if statement. We want to check if there's any item at all in our cart. Then I'm going to create a variable, name it amount, and this is going to store this logic. So we're going to use cart.reduce, where the reduce method is going to look through each item in our cart, and it is going to calculate the total number of items, which is the same thing as called the quantity. And we're going to add each item quantity to the running total. Okay, so here we're using the reduce to look through each item in the cart, okay, so that we can calculate the total number of items. So reduce. So here we're going to have accumulator and current item. Okay, and it is going to return accumulator plus current item dot amount. And right here, our amount will be set to 0. And then we're going to use the setter function, set item amount, to update our amount. And then here we're going to pass cat as the dependency array, so that every time the cat changes, the this function would rerun again, so automatically recalculate. So basically, what I did was that I used the use effect hook. I used the if statement to check if there's any item in our cart. Then the if block, we use that to create a variable amount that will store cart.reduce, where the reduce method will look through each item in the cart and calculate the total number of items, which is the same as quantity. So we added each item quantity, which is current item dot amount, to the running total. And then I use the setter function, set item amount, to update the item amount to reflect the total number of items. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do now is to create a function that will handle removing items from our cart based on ID. So I'm going to name the function remove from cart, and it's going to take one parameter. It's going to take ID as the parameter. So let me create the function now. I'm going to write a comment, function to remove from cart based on ID. Okay, so this is the function const. The name of the function is going to be removed from cart, and it's taking ID as parameter. So inside the function logic, I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to name it new cart, which is going to store the cart filter method, sorry. And the filter method is basically going to filter the item of the cart and keep only item where the ID is not equal to the ID of the item we want to remove. Okay. So I'm creating a new variable. I'm going to name it new cart, and this is going to store the filter method cart.filter. We want to filter all of the items, and then we're going to keep. So here we're returning item based on ID that we already have in our cart that is not equal to the new item that we want to remove. Okay, so we're returning item that is not equal to the particular item that we want to remove from our cart after filtering the cart. And then we are going to update our cart with the new cart. So set cart with new cart. Okay, so this is a very, very simple process. And the next step we're going to take is to create a simple function that would empty our cart. Okay, so here I'm going to write the comment is going to be clear cart. So this function, I'm going to name it clear cart. It's not taking any parameter. So we're just going to set our carts. We're going to update our carts with an empty array. Okay, so that means that nothing will be in the carts when we use this function. Okay. The next step now is to create a function to increase the quantity of a specific item. We need to, when your user is shopping, when you're building a shopping website, an e-commerce website to be precise, the user can decide to increase a particular item that they have added to the cart. Okay, so we need to work on that function that is going to undo increasing the quantity of a particular item. So we're using the ID. Our ID is the unique identifier. We're using the ID to increase it. So I'm going to name the function increase amount, and it's going to take a simple parameter, which is ID. Okay, let me write the comment here. Function to increase amount. Okay, I'm going to name the function increase amount, and we're increasing the amount of the item by the ID because we want to increase specific items. So we can only choose specific item using the ID. That is what we're using in this scenario. So I'm creating another variable for that item, and we're going to use the find method. So we want to find the item, and then we're going to return the item that we already have in our cart based on the ID. So that matches the item that we want to increase. Okay. And then we're going to call the add to cart function. So it's going to add the new item based on ID. Let me explain what I did. I created a function and I named it increase amount. It's going to take a single parameter, which is ID. The next thing I did was to create a variable and I named it cart item. And it's going to undo searching through the cart array and it's going to find, so the variable cart item is going to undo searching through the cart array and it's going to find the item that has a matching ID. So once the item is found, the function calls another function, which is add to cart, and it's going to add the new item to the cart based on the ID. So basically, the add to cart is going to take the cart item and the ID because we are increasing the quantity of the item. So it's going to increase the quantity of the item by adding another unit of that same item. And now we can now head to decrease amount so that our user can decrease quantity if they've added more than enough, like what they want. They should be able to increase and decrease quantity. So I'm going to name this decrease amount, and I'm going to pass ID as a parameter because I want to decrease the amount, which is the same thing as quantity of the item, by the parameter. So I'm creating another variable, cart item, and then we're going to use the find method as well to find the item so that we can return item that matches with the item that we have in our cart. Okay. So if the item is found, the new cart is going to store this logic. Let me type this. So I'm using an if statement. If cart item. Now if statement, we're going to have the new cart, which is going to store this logic. We're basically going to map through all the items in the new cart array. So for the item with matching ID, we're going to return a new object with the same property by using a spread operator to create a shallow copy, but we're going to reduce the amount by 1. So what I'm trying to say is that we're mapping through item, so cart.map. We're mapping through all of the items in our cart. So I'm going to use an if statement to check if the item in the cart matches with the item that we want to reduce. We're going to return an object that will store the property of the same property. We're going to return the new object with the same property. And then we're going to reduce the amount, that is the same thing as the quantity of the cart item dot amount amount by 1. Okay. And then for just in case if otherwise, so else statement, we're going to return the item. Okay. And then after all of this, we need to set our cart with the new cart. So we're going to update our cart with new cart. Okay, and here we're going to have a very important else statement. And the else statement is that we need to check if the item reduces, if after reducing the item goes below 1, we need to remove the entire item from our cart. So here we're going to have if cart item dot amount should go below 1, that is less than 2, we're going to call the remove from cart function, and then we're going to remove the item based on the ID. So basically this is our cart, We have worked on the add to cart, we have worked on getting total price, we have worked on calculating the quantity of items in our cart, we have worked on removing items from carts, we have worked on clearing the cart, increasing and decreasing the amount of items we have in our carts. Okay, now the next thing we need to do for each of these functions, we need to be able to use it in another component. Okay, so we're going to pass all the states, the necessary states that we want to use outside in other components in the value. So here we need carts. This is supposed to be carts. We need add to carts. Add to carts. We need remove from carts. We need the clear cart function. We need the increase amount. We need the decrease amount as well. These are functions and states that we're going to be making use of. We need the item amount itself. We need the total as well. Okay. So this is everything about adding to carts. The next thing we need to do is to create our cart page. So now that we're done with the cart functionality, we need to be able to access our add to cart so that we can add products to our cart page. So here, so at this section here, we're accessing shop context. We're able to get our product from shop context. So here also, we're going to extract add to cart as well so that we can add products directly to carts. And then we're adding products to cart using the button. So when the user clicks on the button, they should be able to add their products to carts. So that is what we're going to do here. We're going to use an on-click function, and then we're going to call the add to cart function. So here we're going to have, okay, come on, add to carts, and then we're going to pass product and ID as the argument because we're adding products to carts based on ID. Also in our navigation bar, I said we're going to come back to our quantity, right? So we're going to, first off, we need to import shop context. And then we're going to extract our item amount, which is also serving us the quantity from shop context. So use context for using shop context. So this 0 here, this value here, I'm going to be replacing it with item amount, which is the quantity. So when the user adds to cart, we're going to see the quantity of items that were added to cart in our navigation. So let's test it and let's see if it works. Right now we have 0 items in the cart. If we click on this item, it should show us that we have 1 item in our cart, right? If we click on the second item as well, the second item, it should show that we have 2 items in our cart. All right, so we can add as many items as possible. That is the first item. We should have it here that we have added 4 items to our cart. Now we need to create the cart page so that when the user clicks on the cart icon, it should lead them to the cart page. Okay, so I'm going to close the product list since we're not using this again. And then in our app.js, we need to create the routing for the cart page. So route, the paths will be to carts, and the elements that will render here will be for carts as well. So we'll close this, and then we'll close this as well. So right here, we're going to import the cart components from component folder from cart, and then we're using cart. So in our navigation bar, this is our cart page right here, right? So in the navigation bar, we want that when the user clicks on this icon, it should lead them to the cart page. Alright, so here we want to make sure that when the user clicks on this icon, it leads them to the cart page. So right here, we're going to import links because we want to link our icon to the cart page. And then right here, for the icon and ensure the entire icon wrapper, I'm going to cut it and I'm going to use the link tag, and within the link tag, I'm going to paste the icon wrapper that I just cut. And here, I'm going to set the path. So this is going to link to our cart page. So now I'm going to close. Let's test it if this is working. If we click on the icon, you're going to see that it's leading us to the cart. Okay. So if we click on this icon here, this is the actual cart page that we're trying to build. We have the cart page itself. Let me add items to the cart. If I add this item, add another item, add about 3 items, 3 to 4 items, and in the cart page, this is what we have. We have the cart itself and we have the cart items. We're using use concepts, and then we need to get some data from some data related to cart from our shop context. So I'm going to import shop context from shop context. Okay. Okay, so we're done with that. So first off, we need to extract all of the things that we need from shop context. We need cart, we need clear cart, the clear cart function, we need the total, we need item amount, which is also quantity. So here we're going to extract cart, clear cart, total, and then item amount, because that is what we're going to be using in. So here, use context is shop context. All right, let me close the Explorer so we can have more space. Now let's get to work. I'm going to create a div tag for cart container. So in our carts, we're going to have the left and the right side. So the left side is basically going to have the cart headers, and the cart's details, while the right side is going to have the cart summary. So I'm going to create a div tag for carts, the left hand side, and then another div tag for the right hand side. So we're starting with the left section of the carts. We're going to have cart headers. We're going to have 2 cart headers. So carts header times 2. Okay, I'll just copy and paste it here. So the first one is going to have shopping cart, item amount, and the clear cart, the icon to clear the cart. So each one, shopping cart, and then we're going to have another each one for items in brackets. It is going to take item amounts that we extracted from our shop context, and then the third one is going to have the trash icon to trash the entire cart. So this is going to be trash. Let me see, which one should I use? The trash 2. So I'm going to use this, and I'll give you a class name of delete carts. Okay. So here we're going to call the clear cart function. Okay. So when you click it, we use on click clear cart. So when the user clicks on this trash icon, they're going to see clear carts, right? Okay, so we're done with the first header. Now to the second header, that's where we're going to have our product description, quantity, price, and total. So we're using span tag, and we need 4 of that. So the first one is going to have product description. The second one, let me just align it up. Okay, so the second is going to have quantity. The third is going to have price. And the last one is going to have total. Okay, so after the entire cart header, we need to display the cart details. The cart detail is where we're going to have the image of the cart, the increments and decrements, the price of the cart, the price of the item, and all of that, and the total price, right? So here I'm going to have div tag for cart detail. Okay, so we need to map our cart. One thing I'm going to do now is I want to check the cart detail. We want to check if we have any item in our cart. Then we're going to display the detail of the item, the detail of the product that we're added to cart. But if we have no item, like if there's zero item in the cart, they want to display that the cart is empty. So here I'm going to use the length method, th, okay, to check if the cart is greater than zero. That means if we have items that are more than zero added to our cart, then we are going to render the cart details. So for this cart detail, it's going to be a separate component, and we are going to work on that very soon. So if it is not, if otherwise, we should display that the cart is empty. Okay, this is not supposed to be caps lock. It should show that the cart is empty. So now that we've done this, right now we're only checking if we have more than zero item in the cart. If we have more than zero item, we want to display the cart detail. If there are no items at all, that means if it is less than zero, we want to show that our cart is empty. But we need to map each of the items to the cart. Okay, so here we're going to have cart.map item, and then we're going to cut all of this. We're going to cut this, the cart detail, and we're going to have it here. Okay, so what I did now is I checked the length of the cart. If it is greater than zero, we're mapping the cart and we're assigning each of the item to the cart detail. So here we're going to pass props. Item will be equal to item as well. And then the key, which will serve as the unique identifier, is going to be for item.id, because we want to display the detail of the products, that is the item that we've added to our cart, based on their ID. Okay, so that is for the left side. And now on the right hand side, we're going to have our cart summary. So H2 tag, the heading tag will be cart summary, and then we're going to have a div tag for summary item. So the summary item. So we need 5 summary items. I'm just going to copy this and paste it 4 more times. So now we have 5 summary items. The first detail that will be in the first summary item will be for the item and the quantity. Okay, so we're going to have 2 span tags. The first one will be for the number of items that we have in the cart, and the second span tag will be for item amount, which is also the quantity. The second summary item will be for the subtotal, so I'll need a span tag as well. 2 span tags. The first one will be subtotal, while the second will be for the total amount. But we need to check if the total is a number. So we're going to use is none. We're going to check if the total is not a number, it should display 0. But if it is a number, it should display total. So the subtotal will be in dollars, right? I want to check if it is not a number, if the total is not a number. We're using a ternary operator, it should display 0. But if it is, it should display the total. Okay, so for the third summary item, that's where we're going to have our shipping fee. So span tag, we need 2 span tags. First one will be for shipping, and then the second one. So the shipping will be set to free. And then for the fourth summary item, that's where we're going to have the promo code and the inputs in case if the user is going to use a promo code. So we're going to have span tag, and then I'm going to have promo code. And then we need an input field. So the input type is a text. So input is text. We don't need all of this actually for now. So placeholder will be enter your code. And then we're going to have a button. with the class name of apply, and it is going to display apply. And then for the very last one, that's where we're going to have our total cost. So we need two span tags as well. The first one is going to take total cost, and the second one is where we're going to have, we also need to check if it is not a number, it should display 0. If it is a number, it should display the total. So I'm just going to paste it, copy and paste that here. And then after this, we're going to have a checkout button, checkout, and it is going to say check out. Okay, so this is it. This is all about the cart page. Now we have the cart detail components here that we're here to work on. So I'm going to come to our cart, create a file for cart detail.gss, and then RFC to create shortcut to create functional reactor. So I'll close this back. In our cart details, we need to extract the remove from cart function, the increase amount function, and the decrease amount function for our shop context. So here we're going to have use context, and then we're going to import shop context. Okay, this is supposed to be import. Okay, all right. Now, next thing we need to do is extraction. We need to extract remove from cart function. We need to extract increase amount function, and then decrease amount from our shop context. Use context to be what? Shop context. Okay. We also need to destructure item right here. Here we pass item as props, and we're mapping item. We're mapping our cart here. So we're going to pass item here also as a props before we structure. So what our item is going to have is the ID, the name of the product, the image, the price, and then the amount. Everything will be for item. So we can now start to render to our browser. I'm going to create a div tag with the class name of cart item. So in the cart item, we're going to have the product detail, we're going to have quantity, price, and the total. So we need the product detail container, and then we need the quantity container as well. Quantity. We need the div tag for price, and then for total price. So in the product detail container, we're going to have the image of the product and the information about the product. So I'm starting with the image. So we'll pass it here, and then we're going to have image, and then we need info about the. So this is going to be product info. In the information about the product, we're going to have the title of the product. That's the name of the product. So we're using an H3 tag for name, and then we need the remove icon, the container that will hold removing a specific item. So here we're going to have cart item remove, and here is going to take, we're passing the trash icon, trash 2, let me see, trash 2 icon, and we'll have remove and the text in front of it. So for this icon, we're going to use the remove from cart function that we got from our shop context. So here on click, remove, okay, we're calling the function, we're calling remove from carts, our removing based on the ID. This is to remove a specific item. Okay, to remove a specific item from the cart item. And now to the quantity. This is where the increment and decrement will take place. I need two buttons. So for the first button, we're using the remove icon. So this is the icon that we're going to use. And then for this other button, we need the increment icon. So add icon. I'm using this. Did I get this on time? Okay, let me just do this. IO. This is the icon that we're using, so I'm just typing it in directly. Okay, for this first button, it's a remove button. We want to use this to decrease. Okay, so here we're going to use an on-click function to call the decrease amount. Okay, so here we're calling the decrease amount function that we got from our shop context. And for the second one, we're going to call the increase amount, the increment function that we got from our increasing as well based on ID. We're decreasing based on ID and we're increasing based on ID. But between the two buttons, we need to display the amount of item that is that we have increased to. So we're using a span tag, and here we're going to have amount. Okay, now to our price, we're just going to pass this price, and then for total price as well, we're going to pass price too. So we need the price in dollars, and we want the price. If it is in a floating point number, that means if it has decimal, it should be in two decimal places. So I'll use backticks first. Okay, no, I'm starting like this. Backtick. The price will be in dollars. So here we want to check. We want to convert it to float. We're getting the price, the total price, by multiplying price by amount. That is the quantity of item. So if it is a floating point number, we want it to be in two decimal places. Okay, I think we've nailed this. So we used all of the function that was called, and now let's see. So our cart detail is working, our cart itself is looking okay. So let's continue. So we'll start by styling the cart.css. Before that, we need to import the JSX file into our CSS file. So I'll start with the cart container, copy this and then paste it in cart.css. Display will be flex, and then justify content, space between, with a padding of 20 pixels. We'll start with the left side of the cart. So cart left, copy it and then paste it here. So for cart left, the width will take 65% of the screen. Background color will be white, and then padding of 20 pixels as well. Padding 20 pixels. Okay, this color field is not complete. Alright. And then for the right section, let me copy it again, paste it here. The width will be 30%. Background color is going to take this color code. Padding will take 20 pixels as well. And then the border radius for this one will be 10 pixels on all sides. Alright, we'll head back to the left cart. So for the cart header, display will be flex. Margin top will take 20 pixels. Justify content, space between, and then font width will be bold. Okay, and then we have this delete stats here that we need to style as well. So for cat header, we have delete cat. So the font size of the delete cat icon will be 22 pixels. Now for this second cat header, we have several span tags that we need to style as well. So for cat header span tag, the font size will take 20 pixels and margin left will take 90 pixels. And then we have the cat detail. The cat detail wraps around our cat detail component. So I'm just going to open it and style the cat detail components directly. So I'll start with the cat item. So for cat item, display is flex. Justify content as well, space between, and then align items center. It's a margin top of 20 pixels. Padding will take 10 pixels on, and then border bottom will take 1 pixel solid with this color code. Okay, so for product details container, copy it, paste it here. Display will be flex. Justify content, space between, and then align items in the center. The max width will be 50%. We have an image after in the container as well, so we're going to style that as well. The width of the image will be 60 pixels. And then the height will be 60 pixels as well. Margin right will be 20 pixels. Okay, and we have product info. So for product info, we have an H3 tag in that. Margin will be set to 0. And then the font size will be set to 18 pixels. We have the P tag as well. Product info P tag. The color will be set to this color code, and the margin will be 5 pixels 0. Then we have this remove icon as well. Okay, so we have the cat item remove as well. We'll check that later. Let's head over to the quantity. So for quantity, display will be flex, and then align items center. We have 2 buttons at the quantity. So button, the width of each of the button will be 30 pixels. Height will be 30 pixels as well. Background color will be set to this color code. Border will be none. Cursor will be pointer. And then display will be flex. Align items in the center. Justify content will be set to center. And the font size of the text that will be inside it will be 18 pixels. We have a span tag inside the quantity as well, that is showing the quantity amount. So the margin here will be set to this value. Now we have price and total. So we're styling both for price and for total. The font size will be 16 pixels, and the color will take this color code. Now that we're done with the entire cat detail, we'll move back to the right side of the cat. So for cat right, we have an H2 tag. So this we set the font size of the header to 24 pixels, and then margin bottom will be 20 pixels. And then we have summary items. So for summary item, we'll copy it and then I'll paste it here. Display will be set to flex. Justify content, space between, and then the margin bottom will be 10 pixels. So for this last summary item, we're going to have another div type for total cost so that we can style it separately. So the summary item with total cost, the font width will be bold, and then the font size will be 20 pixels. Now we have the apply button as well. So for the apply button, the background color will take this color code, and then the text color will be white. Border will be set to none, while the padding will take 10 pixels, 15, and then cursor will be set to pointer, and then margin top will be 10 pixels. And then for the checkout button, we'll style the checkout. Width will be 100%, and then the background color is going to take this color code. The text color will be white. Padding will take 15 pixels. Border will be none. Okay. Cursor will be pointer as well, and then the margin top will be 20 pixels. So the cat.css is here, cat.gss and the cat detail as well is here. Now that we're done with we should be able to add items to carts and view the item as well in our cart. So I've added 2 items to cart, and this is what we have. Our cart page is looking all okay. Alright, so for the links, we're having this link color, we need to change it. So I'm just going to go to index.css. So for every link in our document, I'm going to use text decoration. I'll set it as none, and the color would be black. Alright, so now the last thing we need to do is our footer section. The footer is a very basic footer. I've worked on the footer already, so I'm just going to paste that here. We're starting with the footer container, then we have the top and the bottom. At the top we have the footer title and the footer address, and also we have the social icons, and at the bottom we have the footer menu and the copyright section. For the CSS, I open it, I'm going to paste the CSS as well. The footer container is here, the footer top is here, the footer title, the footer address, the social icons, and all of that. So let's see. And then in our app.gss, we're going to mount our footer. Alright, so our footer is looking all okay, and our website is working perfectly well. We have 2 items in the cart right now. If I increase it, it's going to show that we have 3 items in the cart, and it's the same thing as what we're trying to build here. So guys, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to drop the link to the GitHub link for this project in the description. Do not forget to check the description to get the necessary link to start up yours. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.